morning, everyone. So we are going to start. Yesterday, I asked you to do some numerical, right? So did you guys do it, or should we discuss it again? Hello, can I get some responses, please? Do we need to do it again, or is it okay with you people? It's okay, Kabam. What about others? Is it okay for everyone? Only Kabam said it's okay. Okay then. Fine. So how much is the answer? Did you get? You can write in the chat box also. I don't have any problem. Or maybe just pick up the answers. You can just tally which the answers. That means s. How much did you get the value of s? That means the distance that is traveled. Okay, very good. 31.4. Good, good. Everyone got the answers. Okay. So now let us start a new topic then. Hmm, very good. So we'll be starting the new topic is collision of elastic bodies. This is actually based on the principle of law of conservation of momentum. हाँ, so ये based है law of can you see the screen? I'm sharing the screen. Can you guys see the screen? Yes, na? Okay. So this is based on the principle of law of conservation of momentum. So what is actually law of conservation of momentum? We'll discuss about it, and then we'll solve some numericals on the basis of this. Now, suppose I'm giving an example. Ah, have you seen this game, the game of pool? So in this game of pool, what happens when a ball hits the other ball with a stick? Then the ball rebounces or moves haphazardly in directions. Ah, or maybe you can see, suppose if two balls collide, hmm, so what happens? That they will rebound or it will move in different directions. Now, also I would like to give you an example. Suppose you are dropping some balls. Hmm. Now, if you drop a tennis ball, it will bounce to a greater height. But if you drop a deuce ball, or maybe the ball which is used for playing cricket, so those will bounce to a different height. So this kind of property, by virtue of which a body rebound after impact, is called its elasticity. Okay, you can you all hear me, students? ठीक है ठीक है. अगर सुनाई नहीं देता है तो मुझे बोलना, हाँ, ठीक है? If you don't hear, just tell me. Now, let us see one thing. Phenomenon of collision. Whenever two elastic bodies collide with each other, the phenomenon of collision takes place. Now, after the phenomenon of collision, what happens? That means two bodies or maybe two balls or whatever may be, if they collide, after that phenomenon, what happens? The body come to rest momentarily, number one. Number two, the body tend to compress each other. And then number three, the two bodies, they try to regain its shape due to their elasticity. This regaining of shape is known as restitution. Now suppose, look, if you are hitting one ball to a wall or maybe somewhere else, what happens? In certain cases, the ball again regains
Clear,
its shape. क्या बोला? क्या बोल रहे हो तुम? हेलो, साउंड नहीं आ रहा है मेरा? हेलो, हेलो, please write in the chat box if someone is having any problems. Students, are you having any problems? Someone is telling. Any problem, anyone? Just write in the chat box if you have any problem. Hello, hello.
So,
बोलो, कुछ प्रॉब्लम है क्या? No problem ना? Then let us come to the next one, which is known as can't hear you clearly. What about others? Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
yes, sir.
My audio is clear, no? Okay.
Yes, sir. It's
Maybe
clear.
someone is writing that unable to hear me. Just wait. You just shift to a different place. You are having problems with your you're having problems with your network, I think. Who is saying? Okay, let us go. Now, what does law of conservation of momentum states? Momentum means what? Momentum means the product of mass into velocity, right? So now, as per this law, that means law of conservation of momentum, m1 v1 equal to m2 v2, huh? Or m1 u1, oh sorry, m1 u1 plus m2 u2 equal to m2 m1 v1 plus m2 v2. This is what the law of conservation of momentum is basically. So this one, okay. So where m is the mass of the first body m1, v1 is the initial velocity of the first body, v1 is the final velocity of the first body, and m2 u2 v2. These are the corresponding values of the second body. Okay. So we explain momentum as what? Mass into velocity, right? So now if we explain momentum as the product of mass into velocity, then we write this as in this manner: m1 u1 plus m2 u2 equal to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. Huh? Now we come to the next one. Now we come to the next one, which is what? Which is the Newton's law of collision of elastic bodies. What is that actually? Now, as per Newton's law of collision of elastic bodies, suppose when two bodies collide with each other, their velocity of separation bears a constant ratio to the velocity of force. Now, as per this statement, what happens? The velocity of separation and velocity of approach. Now, velocity of separation means what? Suppose one body is moving away from one another. Okay, so that ratio, that means one body is moving away from one another. So that ratio or that values, okay, if you subtract one from another and you just put the other value, that means if the bodies are moving now in the opposite directions, that is towards each other. Now, if you compare those two values, those are what? Proportional to each other. Okay, so we will have a constant of proportionally E. So, as per the law of conservation of momentum, so in order to express or explain it mathematically, the law of conservation of momentum, so we will be finding what? First of all, initial momentum of the first body. That means mass into velocity. Now, velocity, initial velocity means what? It is denoted by u, right? And mass is what? m1 for the first body. Hmm. Now, if you find that is m1, okay? So वो m1, then क्या होगा? Then what will happen? We will have another one, which is called as m2. Now that m2, that m1 and m2. M2 means what? Mass of the second body. Okay. Now u and v are the what? Initial velocities and final velocities. Initial velocities and final velocities. That means what? Law of conservation of momentum के हिसाब से और as per law of conservation of momentum, m1 u1. U means initial. So in the left side or in the first part, you will write as the initial part. It's mass of first body, initial velocity of first body, mass of second body, initial velocity of second body. Then you will write mass of first body, final velocity of first body, plus mass of second body plus final velocity of second body. Is this clear, everyone, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. If you have any doubt, just ask me, okay? Or tell me to explain it again. I'll explain it to you again. Okay. So before moving to the next part, let us do one numerical. Okay. न्यूमेरिकल करने से तुम लोग को समझ में आ जाएगा. This numerical deals with coefficient of restitution. Okay, let us explain this also. So now we will move to the next topic, which is coefficient of restitution. Okay, so what is coefficient of restitution? Coefficient of restitution means suppose two bodies are there, A and B. Which one A? Suppose two bodies are there, A and B, which are having a direct impact. Now this one is what? Body A. This one is body A, and this one is body B. Now u1 means what? Initial velocity of the first body, and u2 means initial velocity of the second body. So before impact, what will happen? This one is moving with one velocity and this one is moving with another velocity. Now during impact, what happens? This one A and this one B. Huh? These two what happens? These two collide with each other. If these two collides, the impact will only take place when u1 is greater than u2. Therefore, we discussed two terms now, velocity of approach, which will be equal to what? u1 minus u2, since u1 is greater than u2. Now, after impact, the separation of the two bodies will take place only if v2 is greater than v1. That means what? Initially, the bigger one has a more velocity. Now, after impact, the smaller one has a more velocity. Okay. So, what will happen at that time? So, we can write as per Newton's law of collision, the velocity of separation is equal to E into velocity of approach. Now, velocity of separation, if you just pay attention here in the figure, the V2 is greater than V1 now. So, since V2 is greater than V1 here in this figure, so therefore we are writing it as V2 minus V1. Okay. Again, since U2 is greater than U1, oh sorry, U2 is smaller than U1 because this one is having more velocity na initially. So we are writing as U1 minus U2. Just remember this expression. So we can find out this constant that is on E, because here it will look like this. E2 minus 9. So if this is proportional, if there is a proportional sign here, then we can write it as like this. 2 minus E1 equal to, अभी समझ में आया why it is coming like this? So this one is what? Proportional, no? So because of this proportional, there is one what?
Sir,
हाँ, बोलो. The audio is not
small
fine. मुझे कुछ सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है. Please speak up again. I'm not able to hear anything from you.
hello.
बोलो.
Can you
I know I'm not able to hear you. Please repeat once more. Maybe you move to a different place. It will be better for you. And then ask me again. So this is known as coefficient of restitution. Okay? Now its value is lying between 0.0 and 1. So it may be noted that if p equal to 0, the two bodies are inelastic, but if p equal to 1, the bodies are perfectly elastic.
तो सर
बोलो, ये लोग अटेंडेंस अभी अभी क्यों दे
सर
देते हैं?
ये
ऐसे आता है,
रेस्टिट्यूशन क्या है?
ऐसे आता है आके अटेंडेंस दे देता है. दिस इज नॉट लाइक द वे ना. People are coming and just giving the attendance. I'm not asking for attendance to anyone, na. I hope you people understand. Don't give the attendance and just leave the meeting. I won't consider these attendances. I'm telling you. बोलो क्या वो डाउट है तुम्हारा? हेलो.
सर रेस्टिट्यूशन क्या है सर?
वही है रेस्टिट्यूशन. अभी ई के बारे में बोल रहा था मैं. दिस ई टर्म, दिस ई टर्म इज द
हाँ सर,
कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ रेस्टिट्यूशन.
पर वो तो सर वो
दिस ई टर्म इज नोन एज द कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ रेस्टिट्यूशन. तुम क्या पूछ रहे हो एक बार बोलो तो मुझे.
सर ई जो कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ रेस्टिट्यूशन हो गया ना सर, तो फिर
हाँ
रेस्टिट्यूशन का डेफिनेशन क्या होगा? मतलब वो क्या है सर?
देखो, रेस्टिट्यूशन का मतलब है ये वाला. मैं देखता हूँ, उसके बाद एग्जांपल लेके समझाता हूँ. तो सपोज दो बॉडी कोलाइड हो रहा है. लुक एट दिस पॉइंट्स. The body immediately after collision come to rest momentarily. Now the two bodies tend to compress each other, so as long as they are compressed the maximum value. Now after that what happens? Suppose two bodies are colliding. Hmm? So during collision what happens? The bodies will tend to deform. मतलब देखो ये क्या होता है. Okay, someone asks that what if you put the smaller in first place and bigger in second place? Then the velocities will alter. Simple. We are not thinking of the shapes. Now we are simply considering the velocities, and these are just assumptions. So we can put the bodies in any order, and then we can assume it in any manner. Now for first case, the one is greater than other, and second case the second one is greater than the first one. Remember that, okay? now अभी तुम बोल रहा था कि रेस्टिट्यूशन. सपोज देखो यहाँ पे ये बॉडी इससे कोलाइड होता है. द बॉडी कोलाइड्स विद दिस, then this thing happens. So when it will collide here, can you see these red markings? Can you see these red markings?
सर
दिखाई दे रहा है ना?
हाँ सर.
Okay. So when these two bodies collide with each other, this one here in this point, then it will happen what? Suppose two cars collide. Or maybe I am giving you an example. Suppose एकदम simple है. Suppose two rubber bands. If you took two erasers, not rubber bands, erasers. Now if you press them with one another, what will happen? They will try to slightly deform ना. उनका शेप थोड़ा चेंज हो जाएगा, छोटा हो जाएगा या फिर बड़ा हो जाएगा, है कि नहीं? तो उसके बाद अगर उसको हटा देगा तो वो लोग फिर से अपना ओरिजिनल शेप पे चला जाएगा. दैट मीन्स व्हाट? बिकॉज ऑफ दैट प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ इलास्टिसिटी इट इज being restored, or means the elastic nature of the body, so it is being restored. So we can say that this is known as the coefficient of restoration. That means उसका shape जो पहले की तरह हो गया है ना after it gets collided. So this is known as restitution. अभी समझ में आया क्या है?
हाँ सर. थैंक यू सर.
हाँ, okay, good, very good. So now we go to the next one. So what happens? After that, restitution is done. Once you do the restitution thing, then this constant of proportionality arises. Now, if this constant of proportionality arises, then the value of E, what is constant, lies between 0 to 1. Okay? So now if it is lies between 0 to 1, then what happens? If E equal to 0, then the body is inelastic. That means elastic nail. So it will not come back to its original shape. But if E is equal to 1, then the body is perfectly elastic. Okay? So yeah. Now if the two bodies are moving in the same direction before and after impact, then the velocity of approach or separation is difference of their bodies. But if the two bodies are moving in opposite directions, then the velocity of approach or separation is the sum of their velocity. This is an important point. Now the two bodies are moving in the same directions. Then velocity or approach or separation is the difference of their velocity. If you see here, these two bodies are moving in the same directions. That means here, E1 also here, this one also here. That is why we are giving the velocity of approach as U1 minus U2. Okay? Lekin, if this thing is not like this, if this thing is not like this, and if it is like this, then it will be what? U1 plus U2. Okay? This is what they have said. Now, this formula is for assumed conditions. That means we are assuming that U1 is greater than U2 and P2 is greater than P1. But if that does not happen practically, like someone asked me, then we can what? We can adjust the formula so that we can, but we have to keep what? We have to keep both sides of the equation positive. Okay? So we have to do that. So this is the one we have to consider. Now the types of collisions. So when two bodies are colliding with each other, they are having some sort of impact. Right. The bodies are having some impact. So so following are the two types of impact. Number one is what? Direct impact. And number two is what? Indirect or oblique impact. So the direct impact and indirect impact. If the line of action of collision of the two bodies is constant and if the bodies are moving along the line of impact after collision, then it is called direct impact. Now what does it means? This one body is colliding with this one body. Huh? So these two bodies, if they are colliding, now if this one is the line of impact, right? You see, line of impact means what? On this line only the collision impact is happening. So before impact, that means these are moving on the same line of impact. No? So that is why this is known as direct impact. Now we are going to take a
Sir,
follow.
sir, can you explain again? I couldn't hear you.
Once apart.
Sir, direct collision.
देखो हाँ सुनो suppose these two bodies suppose what this one is one body and this one is another body right now this one is moving in this direction and this one is moving in this direction. Now if you see this is the center line of the body or maybe you can say that this is the line of impact where the collision takes place. Line of impact matlab this line pe or the points where this collision takes place. Now if the two bodies before moving, I mean before collision, suppose this A and B are moving on the same line of impact. This one is the that impact line is same for both the bodies. Then it is known as what direct impact. वही है मतलब दो bodies move कर रहा है तो क्या होता है कि they may have a different line of impact also ना so these bodies are moving in the same line of impact so this is basically known as the direct impact. अभी समझ में आया?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we'll go to a numerical now. Can you all see the numerical? Can you all see the numerical?
No.
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, wait. Wait a minute. Huh? Okay. Now, so much network issues. Now can you see?
Yes, sir. It's visible. Visible.
Mhm. So here you can see what is given first of all. Let us discuss. We are given M1 equal to 1 kg and M2 equal to 2 kg, right? Now it is given that a ball of mass M1 is when 1 kg is moving. Someone please mute your mic or not. Please mute your mic or not. Please mute your mic. Now please ask him to mute his mic. Okay. So now a ball of mass 1 kg is moving with a velocity of 2 meter per second. Now if you can see here, the mass is m1 is what? 1 kg. But here the initial velocity of the mass m1 is given as 2 meter per second. Right. So now if the initial velocity of the mass m1 is given, then that means what? M1 U1 is what? 2. Now M2 is what? 2 kilo. But U2 is how much? U2 is at rest, no? So if it is at rest, then that means what? U2 is equal to 0. You can write yes or no. So if you can write U2 is equal to 0, then M1 U1 plus M2 U2, you got that part. Now let us come to the other part. The first ball after impinging comes to rest. That means which one will be 0 now in the second case? Can anyone say me? Can anyone say me? In the second case, which one will be 0?
U1.
हाँ
U1.
U1 तो 0 है U1 तो 0
V1.
कैसे हाँ हाँ
V1. V1.
yeah in the second case V1 will be 0. Why? V is the final velocity, right? If V is the final velocity, then what happens? The question, if you see, the first ball after impinging comes to rest. That means what? The final velocity of the first ball comes to 0. That is why we are getting it as V1. So V1 is equal to 0. Okay? And we have to find out what? V2. So the equation will be somewhat like this. Which will be equal to what? M1 is how much? 1 into 2 plus 2 into 0 equal to what? 1 into 0 plus 2 into V2. So you have to find the velocity of the second ball after the impact. That means this we have to find out what? We have to find out. Can you find out this one? Are you getting me what I'm saying, students?
Yes, sir.
क्लियर है ना सबके लिए? Someone get the answer also. Very good. Good. This one should be her speed. Very good. Get that. So we should try this. Okay. After that, what will have to do? Now, once you find out this V2 thing, Then you have to find out what? Coefficient of restitution. Okay. So how will you find out the coefficient of restitution? Now you are done up to V2, right? Now you all know the values of what? You all know the values of V2. From the previous equation, you all know the value of V2. So coefficient of restitution, that means we have to find out what? How? So you have to find out what? 2 minus V1 is equal to E U1 minus U2. We have to find out this E. Okay, let's try to find it out. Okay, some people get the answers also. I expect everyone to complete. Very good. Those who have done it, very good. Well done. So I've got the answers from someone also in the chat box. Very good. Good. So, are you having any doubts? Is this thing clear? Students, is this clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't think. Do you have any doubts? Anyone? I don't think so. You are having any doubts. So,